Not going to go in that direction just yet, though. Instead, it will be that lion coming into the picture after all. We were sort of talking about it just a moment ago, but NoRunes take it for themselves, and I'll tell you what, ET, this doesn't really alleviate concerns about these two supports maybe just getting blown up, because they have very little health, but they do bring quite a bit of lockdown to the table.
Yeah, and I think interestingly, they decide to pick two very squishy ranged supports versus Clockwork. They
Yeah.
pick into the matchup. They decide that, okay, we're going to double down on our damage here. We're going to make things a little bit easier. And something that is a little bit more fearsome is that Storm Spirit jump now. If you just have Hanas in the back with a finger, I think a lot of heroes that Guts would go for probably will die now. And Hanas is the only player that has really been gunning for this line more than once. I think this is his third game so far. So
Yeah.
maybe just some preference there for him specifically, but that's where there isn't a reason for the line yet, though. Aside from that storm jump, it's where maybe you close out a few more of the mid heroes that KXY could want to play. And no, they say no cares. We'll pick Ember Spirit anyway. Okay.
Okay.
And that's an Ember Spirit into Storm Spirit into Lion.
Yeah.
Very brave.
Brave indeed, but hey, it's a hero that KXY definitely feels comfortable with, so they would, I suppose, rather have him on something that he knows what he's doing with, as opposed to trying to shake up that matchup any further. But it's going to be a risk, and now we might start looking towards the Mars and whatever the eventual Yuma selection will be, which will not be a Morphling as it gets banned out. Because if that Ember does struggle, the other cores are really going to have to pick up the slack.
Yeah, and I'm pretty excited with this final phase just because this means that Yuma is probably going to have to play a new hero because it is super duper late. Everything's about to get banned out. At least everything that he's played in the past, but that's also where we've got a lot to expect here from Mini. I think that's where, of course, when the Storm Spirit, no building damage, no Roche, same with Primal Beast, really
Right.
can't get you started onto any of these objectives. I think this is where Mini would really like to somehow find a good troll game for himself. Just have anybody that, again, gets those objectives rolling. But of course, the downside of picking troll in the down pick position is that then you would have to be scared of heroes like, let's say, a Yuma Bloodseeker that comes out and then suddenly you can't play Dota or you can't play the game. And they do ban PL, which is pretty interesting and not the hero you'd want to ban out if you're looking for troll. So maybe they're looking for more of a strength-based carry, somebody to just beat into. And that's also where kind of running out of bans here. The Ursa is still kicking around in the back. If either side just wants to shore up their Roche problems, I think it'd be a little bit more difficult for SG to run just because they're also going to be in that same boat then where the push is not fantastic, but I think that's where this draft is probably heading.
Yeah, Ursa does not really help too much in terms of taking those buildings, but high damage, strong farmer, could just kind of ignore the problem of pushing power and just try to go with creep waves when you can, or if you win yourself a pretty decisive team fight, then you can be as slow as you want on those tower pushes. But we'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, the Luna does get banned out. That's a hero that definitely doesn't have any pushing issues, but not going to be available for many here in ET. You were talking about the troll. I don't think that they should try it at this point. There's just too much on the other side that I feel like they don't know enough about yet.
Well, there's the troll, there's still TA in the pool. It's also where if you want to, you could tempt fate with a Naga.
Whoa.
And they pick Sven.
Okay.
That is a very different hero, but kind of falls right in line with what Mini has been playing. Of course, you think of heroes like Wraith King that have that same get the Blink Dagger third item into your progression, make plays happen with your team, give
Hmm.
yourself some more lockdown, and yet again, NoRunes improved their jump even further. This is just more damage for them to capitalize off of what the Storm Spear and the Primal Beast will create. And also shuts out some of those illusion heroes that you might have been looking for Yuma. Now Naga Siren is probably something that you straight up can't go for because, of course, you're versus Cleave. You're versus something that's going to be pretty obnoxious. Now, though, if I am SG, I might look at the troll and say, well, can't I just root him up? Can't I just win the man fight? That's
Hmm.
kind of an option here for them if they really want to go for it. But again, we'll have to see. They could also just turn this draft around and go for, let's say, the Jug, and then just look to, instead of answering the carry matchup, answer the Primal Beast lane, which, again, has become very important for very many teams here. And I think that's where SG will use a lot of their time here just discerning what can we pick for Yuma into that. And it's
Ooh.
actually the Yuma TA. Okay. I like it a lot.
Definitely some damage to play with there with that Templar Assassin pick. So that was a little bit of what we were talking about with the Ember Spirit, right? If KXY isn't able to stand up against the lockdown on the other side, you have a hero in the Templar Assassin that can, in a lot of circumstances, just do enough damage to kind of take the fights herself. If not, if KXY actually comes out of this and dodges around that lockdown safely, then this could get a little overwhelming for the NoRunes side.
No, for sure. And we saw the TA versus Primal Beast lane play out, I think, a little bit earlier on in the tournament. And it is one of those cases where you do both just die. Nobody really survives that engagement because one hero has -6 armor and the other is getting trampled. So it ends up being a pretty close call. But that's also where we're going to have to see how Prada's actually able to play and if he is able to get a lot of those interrupts that do seem pretty inconsistent on the clockwork, but have been consistent enough for them to want to pick it into Primal Beast. So we'll have to see. But no, Yuma TA is going to be very exciting. And again, a hero that just gets the game started. That's your hero that kills Roche. That's your hero that gets onto buildings. Yuma's got a tough job ahead of him, but a position that he's very familiar with.
He has been up to the task so far across the last few days. It is worth noting at this point, SG Esports riding a 7-game winning streak. Kind of felt like maybe we should have mentioned that at the start just to sort of set that stage, but it is true. SG have won 7 straight games here coming into this matchup in ET. Going back to the point of Yuma being up to the task, across those 7 games, Yuma has died 5 times in total. And that also includes 5 of those 7 games where he has not recorded a single death. I mean, those are stats that should not be real. But they are, and it's a large part of the reason why SG are in the position that they're in right now.
Yeah, pretty much exactly that. And then the numbers, they get dicey. You have to actually be kind of considerate about where you look at position-wise. And, well, SG, they've got 2 more games. NoRunes have 3 more, so maybe a little bit more wiggle
Uh-oh.
room for NoRunes. But, okay, that concussive shot just saw everyone.
And very awkward. NoRunes can't really back off right now, so they still just got to stand up here. And, well, they're not going to get any. Well, I say they're not going to get anything. They can steal this rune. It's going to be spawning up, right? So they can at least do that. But I don't think they were looking for a bounty rune steal when they sent 4 heroes across the river.
Yeah, a little bit strange. And yet again, it's the importance of smoking out and actually placing these wards. Gives you a little bit more consistency. And I think probably not going to see the D wards happen, which is quite nice. Everybody actually gets to see the runes, which is always valuable, as Mini just barely jukes out the concussive shot there, but still a little bit of tension here, especially on this bottom bounty rune, but let's see. Don't think KXY is going to bite, though, and slight advantage for NoRunes.
3 out of 4. Not too shabby there. So their first blood attempt kind of gets busted a little bit, but they do still start the lanes with a bit of an edge, and well, we'll see how these lanes sort of play out, ET, starting up in the top lane, because there's a little bit of a wait for levels, right? Oscar does need to have the full sort of combo with the spear, but this lane's going to be obnoxious. Any lane with the Skywrath is already going to be tough to deal with, but if you throw the Mars in there as well, maybe Mini doesn't receive the pressure, but someone like Sarem on the Shakira, who has very limited move speed, would get punished heavily.
Yeah, and that's where we do have to see. It's going to be a battle really mainly for those range creeps, and of course a battle that eventually SG win because they just have simply more spells that are adept at securing, but there is going to be a lot of magic damage traded out here. And you look at the mangoes, and Sarem, yeah, he's got a few. Got even more on the way, but no, this is where at least level 1, though, there's just simply not enough damage in the spells. Probably something to look back for when they're 2 and 3.
That means that there's a little bit of time for Mini to just try and settle in to a little bit of a farming rhythm here. Meanwhile, over on the other side, Prada gonna try and do clockwork things. Here he goes, pushing in with the battery assault for the first time, getting some decent damage onto Heiko, but Heiko pops the uproar, and that is always the problem in this lane. If you are trying to harass the Primal Beast, it's kind of similar, ET, to what we always talk about with the Visage. Any damage that you're dealing to him, he can kind of turn into damage right back onto you.
Yeah, and that's also where Clockwork, unfortunately, just barely above the damage threshold, so just simply right-clicking him gives him an uproar stack every single time, and that's where you have to be very careful. Thankfully, Heiko is not level 2. That would have been just a kill there. He's one creep away, and then that could have been Yuma's life done. That would have just been it, but okay. A little nerve-wracking there.
uh, Yuma's got to know that he just kind of got away with one on that, and it is worth noting as well, you know, he took... Uh-oh. Okay, I think he's okay on this front. Maybe not, though. They're still chasing, and if Hane... No. I thought if he kept going, he might have the angle for a stun, but they're going to give up on it. But Yuma, back to that point, no refraction, so you won't even have that means of maybe eating the first couple seconds of that trample until he gets more levels.
Yeah, it's very annoying. And the reason, of course, is that refraction is just gone. It's just 2 steps, and then you're pretty sad. It's where the meld is definitely going to help him make more trades happen, but you do have to be incredibly cautious with this Primal Beast and ride that fine line that we keep on seeing carry players having to ride, as it looks like maybe they go for a large camp pull here, but that's where back top. Yeah.
Surem's just a little too far forward, and as we said, not a lot of move speed, no point in the ice path yet, so Oscar hits 2, they get the stun combo down, and that's a relatively straightforward first blood play.
Yeah, it's also a tough position for Mini. Doesn't have the war cry, isn't able to really stun and save anybody, because of course, if he's stunning defensively to help his teammate out, well then he's going to miss probably another ranged creep, because he is struggling for CS just a little bit more, because Mars is just such a disruptive offlaner, but we'll see. Because rotations and, yeah, trades, as there we go.
Hane, but can Yuma get away? Yes, he can. Prada just with the full duration of battery assault trying his best to help out, and it is enough. In fact, I think, yeah, Prada got the kill there with the rocket flare too, so it wasn't Yuma that picks that up, but it's still a 2-0 start for SG. Not too bad here, and Yuma's had to sort of do that little tightrope act here against Taiko, but so far he hasn't been punished.
No, and now he does have to be defensive, because of course the Clockwork is out of the lane, being very obnoxious, making sure that Guts doesn't get his bottle refilled, but that's also where Surem has also killed the other water runes, so both mid laners are kind of unhappy, even though both of them are very healthy right now, but in doing so, Yuma got left alone, he got stepped on, there goes his HP, but that's just the way this lane goes.
But now, this is something we mentioned, it's a tightrope act, right? Because if the trample is gone, there is no threat. Yuma charges forward. The only healing he had at that point was 2 charges on a stick, but he knows Heiko can't turn around. Without the trample, he really just won't be willing to fight.
Ooh,
well, as I say that, though, yeah. Onslaught into trample. There's those stick charges. Will it be enough? No, it will not. So, well, right on schedule. Once he has trample back up, he's in for the kill.
Yeah, and hitting level 4, just every level on Primal Beast is just quite insane. Level 1, you know, you just get 6 damage. Level 2, your spell does seemingly so much more damage as KXY, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
He didn't...
Soul kill
He doesn't have
got level
searing
6 off
shapes.
it. He didn't even kill with Remnant. That was purely with just him, I think, catching Guts off guard and low on regen. Because now you get to reset, walk back to the lane with full HP and mana because you do the Remnant thing, and, well, what a misplay. I think Guts probably just trying to make his level 6 happen a little bit earlier, and of course, getting robbed of his Water Rune wasn't the healthiest Storm Spirit in the world, but now watch mid, because LTH is here, they're trying to punish Guts yet again. I think he's gonna get 6 off this creep. No, one more. So we're gonna see a pretty aggressive play. Yeah. Cannot let this range creep die, though. Otherwise, he's going to get the 6.
There it is. Slow burst, silence in. They need more damage, though, and they don't have it. The TP from Surem kind of gives them a little bit of hesitation, and now LTH may be the one to get punished here. Can he get away? No, he can't. Surem gets the kill. Guts gets a rune, and that just gets turned on its head.
Yeah, it just gets a little bit too messy too quickly, and of course, Storm Spirit, no slouch with armor. It's where the slight build, you got that soul kill before, but really beating into him doesn't do all too much, and then Guts gets a DD rune. Now he's on the run, because this is the way that Guts likes to play Dota, but revenge on the bottom lane. Lyco gets taken out. Cog's finally up on Prada, so they just nab him.
Find a big kill there. Do still want to see what this Storm Spirit does, though. He's making his way top, going to try to push onto Oscar, dodges the spear, and that is going to be a pretty straightforward kill. Guts is the one to get it as well. First kill on the board for that Storm Spirit, and okay, starting to see some more action from the NoRunes side, although This is going to get a little bit awkward. Fight in the river. Hane does get the Hex off onto the TA, so Yuma isn't going to be able to finish that kill. Now he turns his attention onto Heiko, but not before he loses his teammate. Prada falls, but it looks like Hane is going to get traded out. KXY says, thanks for the free kill. Just slide a fist in there to finish that, and, well, support for support. I don't think you're too broken up about that, other than the fact that you did give KXY a little bit of extra gold. Maybe a little bit more? Does he actually try for Sarem here? He's going to use the sleight of fist and just use that to jump away to his remnant, so would have been very risky. And if you end up dying to Jakiro and a tower in a 1v1, you're going to get clowned on pretty heavily, so best to play it safe.
No, definitely a little bit too much, but this is where it is time for Guts to get into the swing of things. This is where all he likes doing is pushing out waves, making a gank happen, walking back to base, TPing to the tower, just playing the Storm Spirit. Just another one of those Storm Spirit games for him, but that's also where, when it comes to ganking up this TA, it is pretty difficult. And of course, 8-minute runes, everybody's going to be in the river here, and, well, gets an arcane rune. It's about the best thing you could ask for, and immediately TPs. Yep.
There he goes.
He knows.
Zipping onto LTH, it's just too easy. And Oscar, he's not even going to try for a spear. It would not have mattered. And, well, that's what an arcane rune does for you. Storm, every once in a while, still has some broken moments. KXY, though, is looking for a return kill. Slide up in one. Not quite enough. Jump to the remnant. That'll do it.
Yeah, and then he'll probably just do another TP pretty soon here, even though he is underneath an observer ward. And where are you going, KXY? I guess maybe fearing the high ground vision, not wanting to step underneath it, even though it is just a deeper ward that ends up scouting him out. But there you go. Not going to be a trade there. But during all of this time, bottom lane cooled down, and of course you get 2 rotations from the Storm Spirit top. This does mean the TA is going to get that level 6 for free, and with the traps, it's going to make that bottom lane feel maybe a little bit safer for Prada to exist in for just a little while longer while he looks for his hook shot, because that's where Heiko, having the lane, nobody's pushing him out, the TA is gone. He's either going to static it or just look to probably put a lot of pressure on whenever that cart's alive. But until then, Prada's just going to dance down here.
I have not seen this cosmetic before. These side traps look very fancy. Look at that.
It's Yuma's hat.
Didn't even know what those were for a second, but okay. Sorry about that, folks. Took me a second to realize what I was looking at. Is Prada? He's looking at a death here. Unfortunate with that spacing, as he just barely, I think, got spotted by the ward. Yeah, just kind of crossing over there, so bit of a freebie. Still no 6 on the clockwork, though. That's the big downside at this point. He's trying to get anywhere he can to soak up some experience, and it's just not going for him.
Yeah, and now he's in an awkward position because he'd love to TP bottom. He'd love to sit there and maybe just chill in the trees, but I feel like that's kind of a one-way trip if they see you. And, yeah, you should just sit here. This is where the tower's 100% dead. You should just give it up and then just hope you can sap this next wave or maybe wave and a half and then walk it in. But because this tower is dead, now Yuma has to be even more careful because the smoke during the daytime could probably kill him. And of course, with Primal Beast, incredibly long range, you can definitely make that happen. And Prada is still effectively locked away from the map with so many heroes in between him and Yuma.
Just wants his level 6. It's a very sad story. Of course, up in the top lane, they're attempting to turn this into a tower trade, but Oscar and LTH don't exactly push with the strength of the 3 heroes on the other side, so it is kind of slow going, but the siege creep should help them out. They should be able to finish it unless someone comes up here, which I suppose they could, right? Glyph into a couple of TPs, but that doesn't seem to be the priority, and they do just let the tower go.
Yeah.
Might go? Yeah, okay. The second he gets slowed up, he's just going to onslaught his way out of there, and that feels like it shouldn't be allowed. Trample with Big Pole active just looks wrong, but
Very angry pig. Very angry pig. But look top.
oh,
Oscar. So
Ice
far up in
Path
the lane.
hits. And now maybe Heiko wishes he hadn't used Trample, but it's back up already, so they're going to go. There's the onslaught. Nice arena, though. Into the spear, but Guts doesn't care. Zips in, gets the Vortex, but the reinforcements are here.
Though.
KXY is in. The root's going to hit onto multiple heroes. Mystic Flare down as well. They've taken down one. Guts already dead. Sarem dropped low as well. That's a pulverized attempt out of Heiko. Goes off, but it doesn't matter. LTH somehow snags both of those kills, but timely intervention from that duo. Oscar was inches away from death. Instead, he lives, and you pick up 2 for your Skywrath Mage.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. It does end up mattering just a little bit, as also Heiko needs to be a little bit careful
Hmm.
here. We'll probably know that there's the ward up on that cliff, but yeah, because he doesn't have the instant onslaught, he gets to walk away from the tower just a little bit further away, and then the rest of SG are able to connect. And also very important that Guts just had to use a little bit more mana. Mana that, again, we keep talking about the Storm Spirit not having with how expensive his spells are. And, oh, Prada, he does run into a full mana Storm Spirit, but Hook?
Well, he's level 6 now, boys, and he's able to get himself away.
No, that's pretty nifty stuff. You know, not maybe the coolest way to use your first hook, but
True.
you survive.
You know, sometimes being alive is better than being cool. But yeah, that is a bit of a bummer. The cooldown, though, on hookshot is never really all that long. 35 seconds. They can afford to wait that long before they make another move. Although, this is the really nice thing that SG have going for them right now. It does not have to be just Prada yet, right? We've seen KXY really just pushing across the map looking for plays. Oscar wasn't really looking for that play top, but it kind of came his way anyway. Speaking of which, Guts tries to make the jump. Not going to be able to get onto KXY. He did have the illusion rune, though, to get out of that silence, and I don't think LTH knew that until it was a little bit too late, but he at least gets his core out.
Yeah, and that's where very unfortunate. It's the one thing you're banking on, but he's got a rune to counter you out. Illusion rune is a hell of a drug for some of these very specific situations, but that's pretty sick. But
Chains into
also where,
Spear.
yeah, oh, he's got
KXY's
Arena, but
waiting for the slight. It's not enough damage. That arena's kind of awkward, though. Yeah, because Hane's still here. He's still in the fight. He throws out a Finger of Death. It's going to cost him his life, but take it. Oscar for Hane. Solid trade. He got a Finger of Death stack there, too. So, all's well that ends well for him, although for Sarem, may not end so well after all, as he is in some trouble. At the same time, over on the other side of the river, Prada gets the hook into the pushback, into the silence, into the Mystic Flare. That's a hell of a combo from the supports as they do get the job done. KXY, though, did not kill Sarem and actually had to fall back, but they take the far more valuable of those 2 opportunities.
no, that was fantastically played from Prada there. Just getting the pushback, connecting with LTH in a silence, and no illusion rune this time. Does just have to sit there and eat it, and they silence for so long, and then Prada with his own DD rune just having enough damage. Really just sick stuff from the support though. But that's also where there is another game at foot here. Yuma and Mini, they have not batted an eye. They've not looked away. I think Mini had his Ancients blocked for maybe a few minutes, but aside from that, nobody's been doing anything to slow down these carries, and then it becomes a matter of whether and when they actually decide to make their presences known on the map. I think Yuma's got a full Deso coming out on the courier right now, and Mini's got a Blink Dagger queued up. That's where this mid game is really going to start to pop.
Speaking of Blink Daggers, the Lion picked one up in pretty spectacular time here. 15 minutes in for your support. Of course, I think that Finger of Death kill might have put him over the hump as they're going to try and make the jump on a Prada. Should be a relatively straightforward kill. I don't think he has a real hook target, so he's just going to hook in. Here come the reinforcements. Yuma and LTH pushing their way into the fight. Mystic Flare's down. Hane is taken, and Sarem's going to fall too. Prada, I mean, he hook shots out of a gank first, then he gets the kill onto the Storm. Now he trades himself for 2. These are the clockwork plays that you always hope for when you draft this hero, but he's doing it pretty consistently so far.
No, it's pretty nice. And of course, getting kills as soon as Yuma gets his Deso, you know, you start getting that stack damage
Right.
coming through as well. Just very solid plays, very solid stuff. And Yuma, he's been moving closer and closer towards this Roche pit. You can see in his traps, he's trying to get more control so that way whenever that Roche does become something they can actually go for, it'll just be time. It'll just be ready to be played. But the bottom, Ane is blinking around. They don't see Oscar just yet. Now they do.
They need to kill him quick, though, because look at the heroes coming in from the high ground. This is going to get very awkward. Oscar, well, Spear's an illusion, but it doesn't matter. The reinforcements are here. The silence is down on a Mini. There's going to be the hookshot into the Mystic Flare. Mini's dead, and Hane, it is time to run, my guy. He's got to try and get out of here, but I highly doubt that he makes it, although he blinks to the left instead of to the south. That might have actually worked for him, although I'm just now realizing, ET, he doesn't have a TP, so he's just dead no matter what here.
Yeah, and that would be a funny situation. You saw the fear in Oscar's eyes for a
Oh
second,
god,
but Yuma,
Yuma.
yeah, got wrapped on.
Hmm. Well, if everybody's going to be partying down bot, let's go for the kill. And we mentioned, right, not a lot of pressure onto either Mini or Yuma. One goes down, but they make sure that the other carry isn't able to just farm freely during that time by picking that hero off as well.
No, it's a very nice trade. And now, looking over at Heiko, the Primal Beast has his BKB. He hasn't really slowed down either. He is, as I like to say, battle ready. He is ready for that next team fight to happen, even though Mini is getting bullied by supports.
Oh
Oh,
boy.
no!
Oh, the Mystic Flare's off. This could be no, okay,
Okay.
KXY says enough of this. I will finish this situation, and now they've got another spear onto Sarem. Here comes the Lion, though, onto the back line. Maybe a finger onto Prada. Why? That's a little bit weird. LTH will still fall, but Hane is definitely going to be sacrificed at this point, and now Heiko has to activate his BKB defensively. Nobody's really low enough for him to kill easily, though. Prada's going to try to TP away. The Polarize is there, and here comes the Zip. In from Guts. They're going to be able to find that. Now they turn on to Oscar, looking for the Vortex, lock him down, but there's going to be the Arena. No Spear for one, though, but now that he's got it, he will deploy it. And the Primal Beast gets locked down. Guts is out of mana. And the fight is over. KXY picks up the Ultra. That felt all kinds of strange out of NoRunes, ET.
No, it just felt like they were forcing a little bit too much there. And of course, you're able to make one trade happen, but then the limitations of Storm Spirit just look you kind of blankly in the face and say, yeah, you don't have enough mana for this, Guts. Sorry. Because that is so much gold to KXY. Picks up a DD rune as well in Sarem.
He didn't have a Remnant, so he's got to take the long way. And now with Mini coming in, this is going to get a little bit rough. Macropyre deployed as well, but KXY says no. Don't want to be here anymore. Time to run.
Yep, just make space. He tried to defend his ward for even just a second there, and oh, they see Hana's on the high ground. LTH just, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
that's rude. That's... You can't do that to him, man. That's just messed up. And KXY just comes in with a double damage sleight of fist to steal the kill.
and then it's Roche time. They say, yeah, there's got an Ultra Kill on the Ember Spirit. They don't have that BKB just yet for Primal Beast. They start it before that comes back up cooldown. Oscar doesn't need to get in here to tank because Yuma's actually just getting bashed to hell, but aside from the Primal Beast just trying to make that steal play happen, that's your first Aegis for free, and honestly, you could see it go either way, but I just give it to Yuma. He's the one with the building damage, even though I think giving it to the Ember Spirit's also not too bad of a choice as Guts.
Uh-oh.
Well, they know you don't have BKB.
There's
Well,
the root. There's the silence. Onslaught doesn't matter. Prada in with the timely hook shot. And NoRunes... Before, it was just unfortunate, right? A pick here, right? A little bit of a lost skirmish there. It's a 5k deficit, and there's an Aegis up on Yuma, so we are getting into that dangerous territory, ET, where if NoRunes can't stop the bleeding, they're going to be playing very clearly and very definitively on the defensive for the next 10 to 15 minutes.
yeah, it's going to be a very slow game if they can't get some things started here, but that's also something you sign up for with the Sven. Mini hasn't really been able to explode farm-wise. Of course, he's still second in net worth, but... Oh,
Yeah. I guess, I'm not sure if he didn't see or he didn't care, but KXY remnanted right next to the Primal Beast, but... Whatever. It is what it is. Heiko is able to get one swipe in onto the tower to take that down, so that's some gold into his team's hands, but... This is going to be... I guess the test for SG Esports, right? How confident does Yuma feel? Because he is the engine in terms of these objectives. He's the one with the TA, he's got the Aegis, he's got the Deso, he is the tower killer. But to do that, he needs to play up and actually be on those towers. Right now, he's doing a pretty solid job of it in the top lane, but they're going to have to keep that going. Because if they can take these tier 2 towers right now, ET, so much map control goes their way, and the Sven on the other side is the only one who's going to be able to safely farm.
yeah, and very unfortunate. The smoke mid ends up getting spoiled because, well, he broke the smoke with the sleight of fist. He was just physically close enough to get the vision of the Storm Spirit, so Hannes was unable to make the jump. But, you know, we're in that awkward spot where Yuma is just able to do a little bit more with his net worth right now, as opposed to Mini, who is still looking for his own BKB, and then once he has his BKB, sure, he's going to be able to fight, but after Warcry, he's going to have to be incredibly careful. That's where you might not have enough armor on Sven, which is something you don't really want to say here. And they are running into a lot of these heroes, but Probably just need to look for the get out here. Heiko not gonna pop his BKB. Got to get pushed back. Got to get speared to the cogs. Well,
Oh. Yeah, there you go. Yuma tipping Prada. Prada has not missed in this game. It's been incredible so far. Just keep on singing his praises, but... Well, the good news if you're NoRunes is that does buy some time. You now have a BKB up on Guts, but... Well, he does still have this mana issue. The Kaya is absolutely helpful, but there are still some significant limits to what he's able to do here, so the rest of the team still has to carry a lot of that weight, and... Well, as of right now, this trio does need to be a bit careful down here. It's Sven and the two supports, but look at the pings. They know. They saw them with the trap. So there is nothing about this that's going to take them by surprise on the SG side as Oscar's going to make his move. Pops the BKB. Does not have a blink, though, so this is very, very useless.
oh, and time to run. You're gonna get turned on.
Yep, there's the Storm jumping in. They need to be careful, though. He still has the arena. If they don't kill him quick, well, this could get a little bit strange. Does he drop the arena down? Never gets the chance. Stunned up by Mini. And they do find the kill.
Yeah, poor Oscar. Not, not the grandest of plays, but look at this.
Still
KXY
pinging.
just standing on the observer ward. Rest of the lineup smoked though, and Hanes. Oh, he doesn't know.
That's a
oh,
trap.
and now, oh,
Oh, look at Heiko, though. He's just going to march his way through. That is absolutely massive, and they're going to take this fight. LTH and KXY both already dead. Prada gets him to the river, but that means Yuma is all by himself on his second life. BKB comes through. He's just looking for any kill he can get, and he will take down Hane. He should not be allowed to get out of here. He is making a run for it, but they're staying on him. Prada, though, hooks in, but there's the Pulverize. It's going to be a full 5-man wipe. 5 kills, plus the Aegis in exchange for just the Lion. And ET... Well, for a moment there, I thought SG were the ones baiting, but this ward is just the absolute killer.
no, that was just perfect. And also, Hanes just blink hex, gets the Ember Spirit, turns around, gets a 2-man Earth Spike off before he eats the silence from LPH. And then that leads into 3-man Onslaught, 3-man Ice Path. They just got out team fought. They're pure and simple. They just didn't get anything off. And of course, you have BKB on Ember Spirit. There was a lot more of that team fight for SG to give, but they were just disallowed. Also, smoking and taking a team fight without Oscar, you know, probably just got a little bit ahead of themselves, but now this game's back to even.
Yeah, and you see Oscar trying to avoid that mistake again. The second he was back up, he starts farming the triangle. He knows, I kind of do need this Blink Dagger, which, kind of interesting, you know? I mean, he stayed in the lane for a little longer than usual, so he ends up with the Falcon Blade, which is not a bad pickup, but just delays things a little bit as Hane, showing no fear, goes in, gets the Hex. I mean, Jesus, that's a play as KXY is already down for the count. LTH gone as well. Oscar's going to look to TP with his BKB up. And he does manage to make it out. Prada not going to, though, as they lock him down. And ET, Hane has no defensive itemization whatsoever. I mean, for all he knows, he is blinking immediately into his own death, but he just doesn't care.
No, it keeps working out, and again, that's not even the easiest play to make. You don't have spectacular vision around this area. It's just, I think, the quick reactions and knowing that, yeah, this is a very easy way for that Ember to die, and they keep punishing him. And until we see maybe even just like something as simple as a plate mail, he can just get popped. It's where Aeon Disc is also very good in this game, but both very expensive items that are probably just down the path now. They kick the can down the road and they say, well, we're just going to go back to farming, and this is where those issues of the pace being set by SG are kind of getting ignored now, because NoRunes are not pressed against the wall. They are finishing their items. You've got a Blink Dagger on your TA now, so Yuma will be able to capitalize on anything that Oscar is able to find, but, oh, again, Hanes is playing. This looks like a punish, though.
Okay. Didn't quite have the full combo this time, so KXY actually gets to play Dota. He's going to chase up onto the high ground looking for Sarem. Mini is actually pretty close by as well, but Sven doesn't want to be in this fight. He is forced to back away, but... Well, there you go. Hane, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but the third time around he does finally get punished for it. Oscar now has his Blink Dagger, and maybe that's enough to stop this bleeding, because ET, what, 6.5 minutes ago at the 20-minute mark, right? We said NoRunes had to stop the bleeding or turn things around, or they'd be on the defensive for the next 10 to 15 minutes. They come out swinging, they find some big kills, but now they have to keep it going as Guts. That's a very aggressive move. He's got a BKB that doesn't protect against the hook shot, but But LTH, okay, he almost got away with it. But Guts is going to go for another one. Looking for Prada as well. But I think now he realizes I'm starting to run out of mana, and there's like 4 heroes here. We should go. Heiko, though, pops the BKB. Goes for the Pulverize. Where's his backup, though? It's rooted on the back line, so there's no one here to help him. And now with his BKB wearing off, he's got to fall back as well. We're 15 seconds away from a possible Roche respawn, ET, so now control of this pit becomes a very big factor. That's part of the reason why NoRunes haven't left yet.
Yeah, and I do like the patience from SG, though. I feel like if they walk anywhere near that cliff, that's where the Sven is already in a position to make that punish happen. And
Honey pops.
oh, they pop, blink away. Yeah, Dior does come through, but they also need to be careful. And Hannes, he showed again.
There's going to be the spear stun. They take Hannes down, but KXY, he, well, actually manages to get out of there by the skin of his teeth. BKB active, but he doesn't have a lot of HP, so the rest of the team has to make a move. Prada hooking in. They're going to be able to connect. Getting in onto Mini. They can't quite catch up to him, though, but Yuma, he's not going to give up. Still pushing forward. BKB active. Oscar blinks in as well. They get the spear stun. Now they're going to go on to Heiko. To the south, though, the rest of the lineup on NoRunes is trying to hunt down KXY, but Guts doesn't have the mana, has to TP home. And it looks like the fight is over. Can they catch anyone else, though? Sarem going to get spotted in the trees. Force staffs himself away. Oscar wants to keep chasing, but doesn't have mana, so he needs some help from the rest of the squad. LTH is coming in with the Arcane Bolts. That will do it. 3 kills, no casualties. So close to death on KXY, like 3 separate times, ET, but he lives, Roche respawns, and it all comes together for SG.
Yeah, and well, we say that is the fastest Roche timer as possible. This was 10 seconds added to it. This is just blistering speed, and unfortunately for NoRunes, I mean, it's just time. They can't do anything about it. Do give the Aegis again over to Yuma, so KXY still needs to maybe be a little bit more careful, but yeah, they just got their BKBs forced out of them a little bit too early on in that team fight, where Yuma got to save his until the last possible second, and then the TA is just sitting there hitting you. You run out of gas. Just unideal in pretty much every way for NoRunes. And you lose Hannes at the beginning of the fight, which is never how you want to start. You want with Hannes finding the jump, you want him to be confident, but it feels like as soon as this turned over to nighttime, his jumps just got a lot less consistent, as nighttime does cause, just because of the lack of vision, but that's where, unfortunately, SG has just been able to lean back on a lot of their words, where I think NoRunes, they've had a few good ones, but just less consistent vision overall, so it's been more shots in the dark that have resulted in, yeah, again, kind of the unfortunate circumstance of that very early Roche.
In the meantime, looking at Mini, you know, he's been farming unbelievably well, but we need to see him active in these fights as Srem gets picked off in the jungle there. Prada, he just hooked his way in. They're going to catch out Guts. No, they're not, because he pops his BKB, but he really can't afford to stay. Yeah, he's just got to try and zip and TP. He does manage to make it away, but we have not seen that triumphant play from Mini, right? We have not seen the blink, the stun, the god strength while he's BKB'd and he just tears through people. Instead, it's been plays like this, where the BKBs have to be defensive in nature. He does have backup to turn, though, as Hane comes in with the Finger of Death, so Mini will get a kill there, but it just feels like it's been all reactionary plays out of this Sven so far.
Yeah, no, he hasn't been able to start his own fight, which is unfortunate, because let's say he finds the Scarth Mage at the beginning of any of these team fights, then it should open up a lot more opportunities for the Storm. And again, just being able to hold onto your BKBs is kind of the name of the game here. And as the last time we saw this Gut Storm Spirit, the closer they do get and the more of a pressing position to be in, the closer you get that Storm Spirit to his fountain. So, you know, something to play for maybe, as you also have that Aghanim Scepter, so...
Mini.
Yeah.
No BKB this time. Just a little bit of greed there. Survives one gank, turns around for a kill, looks pretty good, but then goes back down bot with BKB on cooldown in a situation where SG are painfully aware that that BKB is not available.
Go, and they tried it. Tried for the Ember Spirit top with the Ag's pull from the Vortex, but just simply gets away. Has a pretty long sleight of fist, so we're back to pushing down these buildings, and NoRunes are back to dodging and waiting for their next set of items, but the next set is not really as fearsome as what they currently have, but even then, we're still maybe 400 gold off from that AC finish up on the Sven before NoRunes could take another good fight. But in the meantime, Tier 2 going to be taken. Not much you could do about this. Have to see how far SG decide to push it here. They could try to force NoRunes back into their base, and then they just decide to hold the map because there are still 20 seconds without a Sven, and Saki's going to buy back.
Hmm. They got Aegis for about a minute and a half still too, so this is a big opportunity. Lots of damage on the tier 3. Where is the response? 1 TP in, but it's on top of the trap. Immediate spear stun coming through. Yuma, he's thinking about it, but damage on the tower going to be more valuable. He's going to try to finish this off as best as he can, or maybe he's not. The glyph comes in, and Yuma backs away, but he does get a silver edge delivered, so NoRunes have to be kind of careful here. I think they are going to spot it as Hanes comes in. There's going to be the stun into the Hex. Aiko's on the front line here with the trample. But what else can they get? Mini makes the jump, looking for Prada. Gut zips in now as well, so they do manage to take him down, but Prada's going to immediately buy back. At this point, though, SG losing a little bit of cohesion. They need to try and regroup. Yuma's coming up with that second life. They are going to sort of get this core trio working together again, but Mini has the BKB. They're going to push back in. Gut zips forward. They take down Oscar. Buyback now out from the Mars. As Yuma and KXY, they're just going to keep fighting. They get onto Mini, they're able to find that kill, but Guts trying to do his best. There's the Pulverize, keeping the TA down, and they will finish her off. Yuma will fall. And, well, Prada, you just bought back. I don't know if you want to go any further forward than that. He is backing away. And ET, NoRunes, they hold the line here. They use one buyback on Surem, I suppose, but other than that, all the deaths and the buybacks came out from the opposing side.
Yeah, it's also where I think just sitting there, staying too long in the fight, it's where you did feel the tankiness from this Sven. Just took too long for him to actually die. And the Ag Shard, just a lot of passive bonus armor. He did get the AC finished up as well before that high ground defense was just shoved into his face. But yeah, I don't know. You also look at SG and say, you might have just chosen the wrong lane. If you went top, if you got the outpost, maybe these buybacks would have had a slightly bigger impact. But both the Clockwork and the Mars have such a long walk before they come back into the fight, and it's already spoiled. It's already over by the time they can get to Yuma. And now, more space, more time. Again, it kind of feels like a Game of Thrones so far.
SG still holding on to a 4K advantage, but it's far from where they were at the sort of height of their powers, so to speak. But, well, let's see what they can do. Let's see how they respond here. The next fight is going to be a little bit awkward for them, though, because they don't have that Aegis to work with anymore. And that is a Shiva's picked up on the Primal Beast. That's actually not an item you see him go for all that often, ET. I mean, it makes plenty of sense, I suppose, right? He's a big guy. He's going to charge in. Having the armor, having the aura. Not a bad choice.
Not a bad choice at all. Just even more problems, and of course slows down the straight up attack speed for Yuma. It's where, very fortunately, I think he ended up going for that Silver Edge, because now you have maybe a little bit more to play around, but without that, you would struggle just a little bit. But 5-man smoke, they're looking for a pick. They're looking for another kill to lead into an objective, and Hanes as well has an Andisk, and well, there's your jump. Prada, bye-bye.
Not the most valuable kill, but it is going to be a pick. Gets them the man advantage. Prada's just scribbling all over the minimap. Not sure what's up with that. KXY, he just jumped into Hane. Hane's going to be able to hit him up. There's going to be another stun coming in. Do they have the damage, though? Nope, not yet. BKB coming out. KXY trying to fight. Yuma in, though, but he got pulled in so significantly, standing in the macro pyre the whole time as well. He just gets blown up. Not a lot of defensive capabilities there on that TA. And all of a sudden, ET, well, I said before, you know, SG still holding on to a lead. Not looking like the case anymore. It's pretty much gone.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the numbers from Warcry. Every single time he pops it, he just jumps, and then everybody gets too tanky for Yuma to actually fight and kill. And that's where I think the lineup from ahead for SG looks great, but when you run into troubles, and of course, they've already milled through 2 Aegises at this point, it just feels like now they're running out of damage quite quickly.
Do you keep the passive armor when he uses the active?
It's just an aura around him. So 7 armor, and then when you pop it, it jumps to 25.
Okay. Either way, that's a whole crap ton of armor, but
Yeah. It's not fun. And it's also where I think for Yuma, in going for the Silver Edge, you think, well, why does he really have a Silver Edge? And I think really more so than the break, it's just to have really just the attack speed and then maybe some more burst damage, but it's where not having a Daedalus really kind of hurts. It really feels like he's not able to put up those damage numbers. And hey, it wasn't the fastest Roche timer, but 20 seconds added. This is another incredibly fast Roche respawn.
Well, Hane is sort of patrolling in the pit, so he will see the respawn first. Ooh. Bad time to flare, unfortunately. Although, did Hane just... I think he might have stepped out of the pit just before the respawn, so they might not know 100% here either. But, well, Prado walks in, he'll see it now. They've got a trap set up as well. If you're NoRunes, you probably suspect seeing Prado go in there, so both teams should be aware of Roshan. The question is who makes a move, as that is a refresher picked up for Guts, so he has the AoE Vortex and the refresher orb to work with. Oh, and look at the sneaky play here. He even drops it. Although Prado immediately pings it out, so I don't think that really worked the way he wanted it to.
No, but it's also where I like that NoRunes are not going away from the pit. Whereas SG, they have so many tools to scout it out. So, yeah, they know. And they do need a gem, it feels like, on NoRunes to get rid of a lot of these TA traps. There's definitely a lot of vision that SG are just given because of the virtue of the TA. But that's also where NoRunes don't exactly want to start things off here in Mini. Looking at you in the mid lane. Could be a mistake here, and he's going to start popping, and yeah, retreats to the high ground ward.
Close call, but he's able to get away. Mini, though, he's got a Satanic picked up. KXY just got his hands on an Aeon Disc, so... Oh my god, he's just going to go in. He's just going to go straight into the middle of the fire. They do drop down the arena into the Spear Stun, locking down the Sven. Prada in with the hook shot as well, and Mini's already dead. Mini's gone. Heiko is trying his best to fight his way through this, but Guts needs to come in and help. There's going to be the AoE Vortex. It does pull in too, but they haven't actually finished anyone off just yet. In fact, Heiko's the one to die. Prada is getting away, and Guts is out of mana. Entirely out of mana here. Silenced up, taken down. And this is getting very ugly very fast, ET, as Sarem will fall. There was a buyback from the Primal Beast, but Heiko, there is nothing that you can do. He doesn't even have TP, so that's it. That's a clear-cut loss. 5 dead for nothing, and Roche is going to go to SG.
No, perfectly executed, and didn't get Force Staff, didn't get moved around. There is only a single Force Staff on NoRunes, but they kill off the Sven. All of that armor just disappears. The rest of the lineup feels so squishy, but even Hana is getting his Aeon Disc popped for free from KXY, and of course, again, it's inches here that this ward on the high ground here actually exists for them, not getting scouted out by the sentry, but because of that, everything's blown wide open now, and get a free ag, so now your Templar Assassin's gonna be everywhere, gonna farm all of the lanes, gonna keep on pushing, gonna get a full fountain reset. You effectively have 2 Ember Spirits now on the team.
Yeah, you've got... Yuma is now Ember Spirit, and KXY is upgraded Ember Spirit, because he's got his Scepter online, so... An exceptional amount of movement and map control going their way right when NoRunes really could not afford to be giving it up, as their base is under attack, and hey, last time they were in this situation they pulled off an incredible fight, but now they don't have the manpower to do so. But Storm is back up. Yeah, and as soon as he comes back up, there's going to be SG falling back. They did their damage. They're not willing to stick around and get caught.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Just now sit on the high ground, choke out your opponent some more here. Still want to get the glyph forced out of NoRunes, and they don't end up popping it, even though they do lose that melee mid. But this is where that waiting game might transpire now. But there are big items in queue for SG. I think especially the Hex that Yuma might just buy out here. But we'll see. No, okay, gets the Swift Blink instead, wanting to have maybe slightly more damage, just in case the Sven doesn't get changed on 100 to 0 yet again here. But that's where SG, they can't really afford to botch this high ground push again, because they're back in the driver's seats of this game, but all it takes is another mistake, like the last time they tried to push on the bottom for NoRunes to be right back in it.
You see Yuma just making his way across the entire map, making sure every lane is pushed in. That's the power of this Aghanim Scepter going to work, and NoRunes can't even begin to hope to deal with this, right? They have no one who has that same amount of mobility. Even the Storm... even if this were the old Broken Storm, wouldn't necessarily have that level of mobility as Hane. He tried. Interesting attempt, not going to work too much. They do have the Halberd, though, for the disarm, so that is going to keep the TA off of the racks for the time being, but Look at the way that SG are playing this, right? They're trying to avoid that previous mistake. They're keeping so many heroes back, and now Oscar is free to jump in with the arena. Yuma is still losing a lot of health, but Guts goes down first. No buyback available on the Storm. Oscar will end up falling, but he did his job. Now the NoRunes lineup is entirely separated from each other. Mini is going to be able to find a kill on a Prada there inside of the cog, so at least he was able to fight his way through that, but now he has to deal with KXY, and he doesn't have his BKB anymore. Dropping low, trying to heal up with the Satanic.
Ooh.
It is actually kind of working. KXY instead gets hexed up. There's the Finger of Death. They take him down. And he was able to survive.
Happening.
They need to leave. This is getting too much for them to handle. And there's that buyback from Oscar. But again, just like last time, there's no TP point. He TP'd to the outpost in the north side jungle. So this is still a long walk. The KXY, though, okay, he can kind of cheat. He's just going to jump right back into the fight with his buyback, but he's going to get stunned up. Yuma, though, covering for him, blinking forward, getting the damage onto Hane, dropping him down, and taking out the Lion, but that is a Lion that has buyback available, so he could rejoin. Heiko, though, not nearly as safe. He does not have buyback as he gets stunned up, pinned to his own racks, in some trouble, but Yuma is going to lose that Aegis. First life down. Heiko still alive. Onslaught's out, pops the trample. This fight is so unbelievably complicated, but Heiko is not dead yet. The spear, though, is going to clip him. That's enough to find the kill, and now they got the root onto the Sven. They're going to hit him up with that Hex as well, keeping him locked in place. No BKB coming online for another 13, so Mini has to fall back. That might be the end of the fight, ET, but it went on forever.
But they have bought time for the Storm Spirit, and they're not out. Somehow God Strength comes back up at the exact same time as well, so even though all buybacks are used, everything feels really right on the brink, and that's why SG smoke up right now, because they just want another free kill.
Oh, they're
If
scanned,
they find
though.
the Storm Spirit again, that could just be it, but, well, here we go.
Do or die time here, potentially. If you're NoRunes, a fight you can't afford to lose. They did an incredible job, as you said, of holding the line the last time, but take a look at the buyback statuses. Storm, short 900 gold. Sven has his, so Mini definitely going to be the man on the front line here for his team. Will that be enough, or do SG actually go for this? They smoked to look for the reinitiation, ET, but kind of getting cold feet at this point.
Yeah, they just didn't bite. NoRunes were a little bit too solid. This Storm literally just sat in the fountain the entire time, knowing that, yeah, if I die again, then I probably just throw this game for my team, a game that we somehow are still in, but everybody gets to reset, they get to respawn, and we've got at least one more massive team fight ahead of us here.
44 minutes into this one, and that's the weirdest thing about this. This just tooth and nail kind of hold from NoRunes. You'd expect us to be 10, 15, 20 minutes later into this game than we are. The timetable is just kind of weird, but SG were able to build up the kind of lead that they would have had at that point. It's just, can they close it out? Hane's in, there's the Hex, there's the stun, there's the zip. Yuma can't go down here. Can they somehow save him? Well, for now, he's actually okay. He's going to pop his BKB. They're turning around. It's Guts who's going to get hit up. There's the stun from Oscar. Guts is out of the fight. No buyback available, so it's down to Mini. Can he do this? Heiko's coming back up, though, so he is going to TP in, looking to reinforce this fight, but they've lost both of their supports. They need to be able to pick off someone, anyone, at this point, but they just can't find the kills. Heiko trying to go in with the trample. They are getting some nice damage onto Oscar, but KXY is going to jump onto the back line. Oscar dropped low, but he's able to pop the cheese, keeping him in the fight. Mini's the one to go down, buys back immediately. And his buyback is SG's cue to back off. More damage done. They just keep chipping away at those defenses.
Yeah, he just didn't get the BKB off, the second BKB. He was also a little bit short on that second Vortex. Otherwise, maybe Yuma's under a little bit more danger, but now this is where that Ags, you really feel it. Yuma just goes all the way back to the fountain, gets full HP and mana. You're back on towards bottom. Still have to be careful. No BKB for 35 seconds, but you're back onto the buildings and still no buyback on the Storm. And
Prada just missed with the hook shot. Primal Beast gonna get stunned. They're not really all that cohesive here, and KXY's got to be very careful. He is holding his BKB, though. Aeon Disc pops first. Sleight of Fist will dodge out the Stormhammer. And they finished off the racks. Definitely not easy or fast, but they are getting through this ET as Yuma's going to make his way top. NoRunes, what do you got? Guts is up in 10 if you can hold on that long. I don't think they're going to get through the racks in time, but KXY wants to fight. There's the BKB active, trying to go after Sarem, looking for the kill on the back line, able to find it. 100 seconds on the sideline, but Pulverize is in there. He has the talent, so it did go through the Magic immunity, but they still need to be able to hold this fight. Prada comes in, drops a Cogs, trapping up 2. Can he get away? Force Staff is getting him out, but Vinny says, hell no, you're not getting away. Jumps forward for the kill, and now he's going to turn his attention onto Yuma. Onslaught forward from Heiko as well. They get the Hex now onto Yuma as well. They're going to stun him up. Can they find the kill? Yes, they can. Yuma taken down. Now outside of the base, LTH pulled in by the Vortex. ET, how the hell do they keep getting away with this? NoRunes hold their melee racks, and they are still not dead.
No, and after such an awkward initiation from the Storm of Spirit there, and then figures out that the Clockwork's level 20, so he gets stuck inside the cogs, but yeah, they hold. He couldn't find a pull either because everybody just popped their BKBs, and Yuma tried to stay objective focused, but even in this game, the Megas don't come through. Even if the Megas were online, I feel like NoRunes are down to play into it at this point because they just are not giving up no matter what. They just keep on extending and prolonging these engagements, and SG weren't able to find any decisive initiation. Not to mention, KXY couldn't really do anything in that fight. He didn't have BKB. He had to play extremely scared, and in doing so, the rest of the lineup just couldn't keep up, so they get pushed back. A little bit of farming time now for NoRunes outside of the base, and a lot of D-ward action as well, and we've got another very fast Roche, only about a minute and a half added to his time or so. Well, Dota just keeps on wanting to give.
And I don't know, I love this from NoRunes, sort of taking a step away from just this game for a moment. NoRunes are scheduled to play 4 games today in Pro Series. This is the first. So the idea of just setting the tone here and now, we're in a terrible situation. We're down 22k, we have 1 melee Rex remaining, but the fact that they just keep fighting ET, win or lose, I think it puts them in a pretty solid headspace for the rest of their games today.
Oh, for sure. This is 100% a Goonies Never Say Die situation. Is oh, well, okay. Storm Spirit lost his Andisk. Now he can actually die, but we'll see. Sad that he had to use his Arcane Rune, and they're hunting, and they got him.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Vex is down, Spear is in.
Well,
just a little bit too far forward. He could have taken a couple steps and maybe been in... Actually, no, in the tree line wouldn't have mattered. The ward would have spotted him out no matter what, but he had BKB. He just didn't think he would need it. Awkward situation now if you're NoRunes. You have to hold, and what's going on here mid? Minnie's making a jump onto Oscar. There's going to be the onslaught in as well. Oscar does get taken down, and now, well, maybe they can get a little bit more. Who else can they find? Yuma in some trouble, having to fall back. At the same time, LTH, what is this? That's the wrong side of the fight, my guy. He is in some serious trouble, but KXY coming in, trying to help him out. Will it be enough? No, it will not. They do still lose the Skywrath Mage, but they're losing their own supports as well. Hane gets picked up on the back line, and now they're going to try to refocus, getting some hits in onto Heiko. And oh, the Side Fist that actually didn't dodge the Stormhammer. Pulverize now going to come through. Mini trying to get into position, but they aren't able to really get through him just yet. KXY dancing around his opponents. Hookshot from Prada is on to KXY. It doesn't hit the opposing heroes. And at this point, if you're SG, you are tempted to keep going in with Yuma at full HP, but you're just not having the lockdown you would need. And they do decide to back it off, but Mini, he doesn't want to leave. He's got the blink. Just need the vision. They don't have it.
The pings, everybody is so tense right now, and there is an Ember Spirit Remnant mid if they wanted to go for a jump, but I think we should see, again, this game go on pause, and Heiko just having the ability to hold onto his BKB for so long just allowed him to get that super long Pulverize off, and more buybacks wasted. You still weren't able to do too much on Mini. A lot of that fight was him just running around and casting Warcry, but it's enough to make the rest of his team just a little bit too obnoxious to kill, and he gets to walk away, and they get to survive, again, a situation where their Storm Spirit is sidelined. And now Roche is alive, and they
oh, they're just going to go for it.
Guess, and yeah, they're in.
Mini popped ult. There's no backing off from this. They've got to try it. KXY, though, going to poke in there, see what's up. Does he actually go for a full-on fight, though? That's a Gleipnir. He just threw the Gleipnir into the pit, but look at Guts trying to act as a distraction. Meanwhile, well, Roche did go down. Mini got the Aegis. Yuma's in some trouble. He's going to have to try and fight his way out of this, but he has no mana, and now he has no health. Finger of Death in there to finish the job, and ET, SG are starting to lose it. They have got to get it together.
Yeah, and I don't know who exactly. I guess you just give the eggs probably to the Jakiro. I guess we'll see how it ends up getting traded away. But yeah, this is becoming too much of a problem right now. They're just getting caught. They're getting pushed to the edge. Okay, right now the Sven actually has the Ags, and that Ags is better, mainly because you can turn it off when you don't want it. But
Right.
I feel like there might be more valuable ones. But this top Rax is still there. They don't go for split push. They gamble at all on making a play happen where they don't have their Mars. And
KXY.
oh, he's back.
Pulverize is going to catch him. Mini needs to get over for the follow-up stun. He's going to throw it out. KXY did manage to jump away, though, and well, the BKB activated to make sure that that Stormhammer still doesn't hit him, and part of the reason why Mini's maybe a little hesitant to pick up the actual axe there, because he could have been dragged along if he hadn't disabled it. But at this point, ET, if you're not going to use it, give it to somebody, man. He's just keeping it in his backpack. There we go. Thank you. Giving it over to Sarem.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Pure damage macro pyre. I mean, you will just die, and just gives you another tool as well if Sarem does have to deal with mega or super creeps. He hasn't popped it yet. There you go. Yeah, he's good.
He's
Line
a
one
good
is also
support.
not bad, but it's just not nearly as important, I think, in the scheme of these team fights. And the split push has gotten started, and NoRunes, they have to take this game incredibly slow because, of course, 2 lanes of supers, they're always going to be forced back into their base, and they will have to push it out just a little bit longer. So even though it's just a tier 2 top, it's just them making the necessary steps. But with that, buybacks are also getting rounded out. Storm Spirit might actually have his for a team fight, but also Guts just hit the 25, so Overload attack bounce is online. Still need to see if he gets the shard, but oh, Prada.
Well, everybody's got Aeon Discs at this point, but Oscar's going to come in there to try and turn the fight, and he's got the shard upgrade as well, so he does hit up onto 2. Heiko, I don't think he's getting out of this one, and Han is going to get taken out as well. Guts is now in. AoE Vortex hits onto 2, but where's his backup? He doesn't have any. Did he not pop his... Okay, there it is. The BKB comes out, and the Storm does manage to get away, but Mini may not. Spear stun, locking him in. Not the area you wanted to use your Aegis. Can he somehow get away? That's still a shit ton of armor from Warcry, but he's going to get rooted up. KXY pushing onto the front line. They're going to take out his first life, ET, and... NoRunes, what do they have to defend here? They've got a BKB. Heiko's going to get the Pulverize off for about a half a second, but Prada goes back in. He's going to be able to get off the hookshot, connecting, but there's that AoE Vortex again, pulling in 2. Oscar's able to drop down another arena, though, but look at Heiko go, dropping the trample, getting all of that damage in there, but they have to protect Mini. They can't let him fall, ET, but he goes down. No buyback. And now I don't know if they can do this. Heiko, though, is trying to do as much damage as he can. It's going to be enough to maybe take down Prada, but they need to deal with these cores, and they just haven't done so yet. There's a disarm onto the Templar Assassin. Heiko's going to pop the cheese, but they're just too broken up. They're falling back, trying to get away. Guts is going to be able to make it out of the fight. Maybe not. KXY hits him up with the root. They're going to get the meld onto him as well. The Gleipnir's there for a follow-up root. The spear even is the pushback, and Yuma comes in to finish the job. Guts gets taken down. There is a buyback available, though, on that Storm, and he is going to pop it. Zipping his way back in, looking for Yuma, pulling him in with the Vortex. They take Yuma down, and this may have been a step too far for SG. They're going to lose multiple heroes. KXY now going to get stunned up. Hex, fingered, dropping. Can they somehow get him? Yuma TP's back in with the projection. And he's actually just going for the objectives. He says, we need these megas, boys. I am not going for anything else until I've got it. But he's going to get disarmed, so they still haven't finished it off yet. But they're at least able to jump in onto the Storm. They take down Guts. There are no buybacks remaining. Heiko has to do it all by himself. And he's not going to be able to. There's your GG, ET. NoRunes fight till their last breath, but it's not enough.
Oh, it's so difficult because the way that all breaks out is just with them trying to get a kill onto Prada, but then they get Refresher, Arena, Hex, Spirit. It just ends up being so split up compared to what NoRunes have had to do to defend their high ground before. And that's the irony of the situation. The one time they try to take a fight, they try to be aggressive, it's not SG pushing them into that box. They don't team fight. They botch it. They aren't able to actually take it outside of their base. And
Oof.
yeah, hard fought victory, but kind of felt like this was how it was going to go from the start. But some great holds from NoRunes, just not enough to win the game, but still a hell of a game of Dota.
And, you know, we said in the draft, hey, this Storm's looking kind of iffy for Guts, and the stat line's not the most impressive, 10, 10, and 20, but, I mean, they did incredibly well considering they had kind of an off-meta pick anchoring down their middle lane. It just wasn't enough for the full comeback, but like I said before, NoRunes, even in a loss, definitely setting the tone for where their mindset is as a team right now.
Mm-hmm. No, and pace yourselves. Don't make every game go to 60 minutes or near
True.
60 minutes. But that was also just some wild stuff from Roche. 4 Roches in what, 53 minutes? That's kind of ridiculous, but okay, Dota. Okay, Dota. I mean, the Roche spawn timer has been insane again this entire tournament, but yeah, we'll have to see now what game two holds. But I just hope that in typical Dota fashion, game one's 55 minutes, game two's usually 20 minutes. Just, hopefully you're the team that ends up getting the stomp. But yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? There's going to be some changes, not because either side had maybe bad drafts, but just because they don't want a similar lineup because they don't want a game that's going to go as long as this one did. So we'll see what that has in store for us. Will SG get the clean 2-0 sweep, or can NoRunes salvage a point here in their first of back-to-back series? So we'll be stepping away for just a little bit, but when we return, that Game 2 draft will be on your screen. So stick around. We'll be back in a bit.